All right, so good evening, everyone. Enjoyed just the small talk there before we kind of officially start class, just to kind of get a feel and an idea of some of your experience levels and some of your experiences already within the first week of school. So, I want to welcome you guys to SPED 804. This is like a management, classroom management practicum course, and we're going to kind of dive into it and do an overview of it tonight. So tonight will be pretty light. We're going to cover all the assignments and kind of some things that we'll do. But before I start, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Dr. Matt Posey, and I'll be with you in this class, and I'll also have you in some other classes in the program as well. Teach a variety of them. I teach assessment course. I've got a background in school psychometry, so I've done a lot of assessments on students to see if they qualify for services. This is my 32nd year in education. I am a public school superintendent here in Oklahoma, is where I live. I work for Fort Hays now. I believe this is my seventh year. And I think Kim asked me, she said, "You mean you're a full-time superintendent and you do this?" Yeah, I do. So I enjoy doing it. Um, Again, like I said, starting 32 years, I never thought I'd be in it that long. And it just seems like I started yesterday. So a lot of you guys are new. You commented, "Hey, this is my first year in SPED." And you may feel overwhelmed right now. Actually, you probably feel like you're drinking out of a water hose. I get it. I've got some right now in our district, and the things that we're seeing now with students are getting to be on a whole different level with some of the behavioral issues. We're seeing more and more of that now. So don't think it's isolated just in your room or just in your district. It's that way across the nation. So just know it, you're not the only one. Okay. There's thousands of teachers, SPED teachers, especially going through that right now. So in this course, we'll go through and do some activities and some assignments and projects that hopefully you can take some of this away that's practical and that you will be able to utilize. The first couple big things that we'll start on, you'll definitely, at some point in time in your career, you will be doing those. And we're going to talk and work on doing FBAs, functional behavioral assessments, and BIPs, behavior intervention plans. And so you will actually work collaboratively with a group during this course to develop that FBA and that BIP. And that's two big projects that we'll do during this 8 weeks. So when we start kind of talking about it a little bit, don't think, "Oh my gosh, I can't do this in 8 weeks." We'll do it together. You'll have some teammates. We will meet each week on Zoom. I'll have Zoom meetings. I record those. So if you have things going on, I know you may have meetings, you may have several IEPs due in 1 week, and you're just overwhelmed and you're not able to make class, and that's fine. I record them. So every night after we finish up at my classes, I do two on Wednesdays. I'll download the recordings and then I upload them and post them in the course shell. And then I'll send you an email letting you know, "Hey, SPED or 804 Zoom from August the 20th is posted in Blackboard." And you can go and just review it. Okay, so if you can't make it, it's not mandatory, but it is certainly helpful because some of the discussions we'll have may give you some helpful information to take and utilize in your classroom. Maybe you have a commonality. Shauna, you and Emily may be experiencing some similar things with a student, and Amber maybe had implemented a certain practice in her classroom and had success with it. So you could take that from those conversations, take them back into your room, and there you are. So it's a great way to network too when you're on here, having those discussions. So most of my Zoom sessions were on at 6 and we're off in about 45, 50 minutes. Okay. I try not to take a lot of your time but offer time for you to ask questions on assignments so I can help you and walk you through those. Okay. I know you're grad students. I know life happens, and I know you're being pulled in multiple directions, and I understand that. If we have some assignments that are coming up due or projects, and you're struggling, you're overwhelmed, just shoot me an email. I'll work with you or your group. I get it. I understand you got a lot going on, and I'll work with you, but just don't go AWOL and not let me know. Okay? Just communicate. It's all about communicating. I'll work with you. I'll bend over backward to work with you. I want you to be successful in the class. But just give me a heads up and let me know what's going on. Okay, that hey, Dr. Posey, I've got three IEPs this week. I'm drowning. Can I have a little bit extra time on the assignment that's due Sunday? Okay. I'm going to go over the syllabus and just some of the activities we're going to do, kind of explain them in depth, and then talk about what the expectation is for week one. Week one's really light, just asking you to do a discussion board, and then also would like for you after the meeting tonight to make sure you get your discussion board done because you will kind of see some students in the course that has some commonalities. Maybe you all teach the same grade level, and that's who you probably would want to partner with to be in a group when we start the FBA and the BIT project. Okay. So please get your discussion information in so other classmates can kind of see what grade you teach, what level, and so they can reach out to you and maybe partner up and you guys can work together in a group. Okay. I'm going to do a screen share. We're going to go through the syllabus. Then I'm going to go over the schedule week by week to kind of show you what all's to do and when. And then I'll kind of briefly go through and show you some important pieces of the course shell for tonight. Okay. And then we'll jump in really in depth next week and start talking about the FBA and getting ready to start working on it. Okay. So if you give me just a minute, I'm going to do a screen share. Should pop up to where you can see I'm in the course shell. Can everyone see the screen? My screen I'm sharing. Okay. So if you see, I'm in the course shell. And so you can see I've already had a couple of you that's already putting your information in the discussions. Basically, we give you a prompt, just telling us a little bit about your background, maybe how many years you've been in, what grade levels you work with, just so we have some ideas. And right here, the messages, that's what I call the Blackboard Messenger. I will communicate with you through that as well as my Fort Hayes email, either one. So that's a good place also to communicate with your classmates. So going down, there's a little bit about myself. I'm gonna pull up the syllabus first and just kind of go over that briefly with you, just to make sure we're all kind of basically on the same page, have a good understanding of what we're going to do here. So I'm actually going to scroll down to where we start talking a little bit about the assignments. You see here, I mentioned it talks about weekly Zooms. We'll all have it set every Wednesday at 6. Always kind of select Wednesday because I tend to have individuals that are coaching extracurriculars, and so Wednesday there's really not things scheduled for them. It gives them the opportunity to hop on. If you can't make it again, I record it and post it. You can see here are the assignments for the course, the 8-week course. I mentioned the functional behavioral assessment. You'll see it's worth 250 points. You'll be working with a group members. And I know sometimes you think, oh my gosh, I got to work with a group and rely on them. Okay. If you have a group member that is not actively contributing, please send me an email and I will get in contact with that individual and nudge them. It's very important that they participate, actively engage with you, okay, in that group. So we'll do a functional behavioral assessment. A lot of you guys indicated in the small talk before I started class that this is your first year. Hey, I'm a first year SPED teacher. So at some point in time, you will have to do an FBA. You will have to work on doing that. And so a lot of times we have to do the FBA when we're trying to determine, it's disciplinary actions with a student. We're trying to determine was that student's disability the cause of their behavior. Okay. And we have to do the manifestation on that to determine that first. Yes, it was, or no, it wasn't. Then we go from there. Then we'll have to go in and do a functional behavioral assessment. We'll have to determine what is the specific issue. What is it? And it'll give some examples on down here in a minute, okay? And you have to be very specific on that. You can't just be broad. If you're broad, you may not be able to address the problem. Okay, so that's why it's important just to really narrow that down and get a detailed, specific focus on that behavioral issue. After we complete the FBA, we'll then work together to do a BIP. Emily, you're going to have to quit yawning. You're making me sleepy. I've been on the struggle bus today with. So we'll work on doing a BIP, a behavior intervention plan. Again, it's taking the information off the FBA, and then we'll roll it in and start doing our behavior intervention plan. Again, that is in a group. Okay, those two are. All right. The next assignment we'll do later on is what we call can't do, won't do. It's a pretty neat little assignment, and it'll walk you through some steps dealing with your specific target student. And you will run them through a series of activities. It's really quick and easy to do. And basically, it will help you quickly determine whether the student literally can't do it because of their ability level, or they simply just won't do it. They actually have the ability to do it. They won't do it. So it's an easy assignment to do, good resource for you to use later on to determine whether this student actually they can't, they're literally not capable of it, or they simply just won't. Okay. So that's a pretty easy, quick assignment to do. We'll do one also where you will focus on doing a lesson plan that's focused specifically on a behavioral issue, not an academic issue, but a behavioral issue. Okay. Then we'll have some discussion activities, a discussion board. There'll be four of those spread out over the 8 weeks. Okay. On the discussion board, you'll have a prompt. Just make sure you respond to two colleagues on that to get your full points on that. Okay. So you'll do your initial post and then read two of your colleagues in the course and respond to them. And then we'll have two reflection pieces just off some activities that we do, and we'll just ask you to do a personal reflection on it. There's really no right or wrong. The only way you can mess that up is by not doing it. Okay, so those are the activities. Sounds like a lot in 8 weeks. It's very doable. Um, you can kind of see the spread on the grades. You'll see the points earned. So 93 and above is an A, 85 to 92 is a B, 76 to 84 is a C, 65 to 75 is a D, and anything below 65 is a U. Okay. I don't anticipate seeing that. I think most of you guys will fall up in that AB. Okay. As I mentioned, we're going to walk through this together. And these Wednesday night Zoom sessions will be great times to say, hey, Dr. Posey, our group's struggling with this. Can you give us some guidance? Okay, and that's kind of what they're designed for, to help you out. So I anticipate everyone will do well in the course, and that's my goal. I want to see everyone do well. Okay, here's a breakdown in the syllabus, just a little bit about the FBA, and that's going to be the first project that we'll start on. Okay, basically it gives an explanation of what the FBA is. I just kind of gave you the short explanation a while ago. It's used to determine why students are displaying particular behaviors in their environment. Okay, so we have to get very specific with that. Is it a certain trigger? I mean, what is it? Okay, and it requires an FBA to be done if the behavior was a manifestation of that disability. Okay, and oftentimes this comes into play if we're looking at disciplinary actions for those students. If they've committed a pretty serious disciplinary offense, we have to meet the manifestation and determine, was their disability the cause of their actions? Okay. FBAs are not done by one individual. Okay, so it's not all on you as a special education teacher. There will be multiple people involved in that. Okay, so you're literally going to be in that FBA process. If you ever have to do one, you're going to be collecting data and information from a variety of people, the regular ed teachers, building principal, anybody that comes into contact with that student will be able to provide that information for you. So you're going to be working with multiple people on that if and when you ever do one. Okay, outside of this class. Um, Oftentimes it's the targeted behavior is going to be identified in that manifestation meeting. Okay, the team's going to be talking about it. They're all going to be giving their feedback, and you're going to start hearing and be able to identify a common theme as far as that specific behavior. Then the team will identify the target behavior and target the student and start focusing in on it. And then the assignment process, the FBA will work, and it'll be done in 3 steps. and we'll use some resources from the MAG course textbook, and those resources I will also have them posted in this course shell as well. Okay, so we'll use some of the resources that are posted in Blackboard. So the first step is you will be collecting some data. And so each one of you, even though you're in a group, so let's say Emily, Erica, and um, another one is in a group together, you're each going to select your own target student in your district and determine a specific behavior you're seeing, and then you will collaborate with your group members and try to narrow it down, try to find a common theme amongst your team as far as a specific behavior. Then you will do some behavioral charts to just kind of document those behaviors, do an ABC analysis. And again, all these forms I have posted in Blackboard. I'm not asking you to create those. And then you'll do a frequency and duration chart as well. How many times does it happen? How long did it happen? So when Johnny's acting out or eloping, how many times did Johnny elope, Emily, in one given class period? How many times did he try to elope from your room, take off? How long did that last? How long did it disrupt your class and take you out? Did you spend 2 minutes chasing him down each time? Was it 30 seconds? So those will be things that you're recording and documenting. Okay. Then after we get all that, we'll put it all together. Your group will collaborate and start putting that FBA together, and then you will complete the FBA assessment form. Okay. Again, those are the steps. We will walk through each of those on each week of class, and we'll focus on those. Okay. And if you have questions, please ask during those Zoom sessions. The next session or project will be the behavior intervention plan. Again, you've already got the information from the FBA. Now we're going to put the behavior intervention plan together. And so it's basically a formal plan that's created by the IEP team that will map out a path for successfully replacing the target behavior and finding the appropriate replacement behavior. Okay. So the whole plan will be created by all the data you collected in the FBA. Okay, so you already collected it in the first project, and then we'll take that data and then we'll start putting together your behavior intervention plan. Okay, so for those first two, start thinking about one of the students that you serve in your room that you would like to kind of use as your target student. So Erica, if you're in that group with Emily and a third student from this course, you guys will each have your own target student in your district, right? Because this is a remote class. So Emily, you may have a specific student you can think of right now. It's like, hey, this is the one I want to use. I'm seeing this behavior I want to focus on. And Erica may say, hey, little Susie's in my class and she's a real pill and I want to figure out what's going on with her so I can get it corrected. So she may be your target student. Now, one thing I would recommend, especially now with technology being like it is, once your group is established, I would strongly encourage you over the weeks to maybe start communicating either on Blackboard Messenger or maybe even set some times to where you guys could hop on and do a Zoom and say, hey, let's do a quick 30-minute touch base Zoom call and just talk through some things real quick. That's another way to do it. Another method too that I always suggest, especially in my 805 class, because we do a group project in there, is maybe Emily, once your group's established, to go ahead and set up a shared Google Doc to where you guys can start putting some shared information in that, because your peak work time, Emily, might be late at night due to your schedule, and Erica's might be at from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. And so that way you can still actively contribute to your group by putting the information in that shared doc. So just some suggestions, something to think about. Okay. Next item is a can't do, won't do assignment. Sometimes it's difficult to tell whether the student literally can't, they don't have the ability to do it, or it's difficult to tell if they simply just won't. And so this is an assignment I mentioned. I'll provide you a kind of the activity to do with the student and let you try that with your target student. that you're thinking about in your own district. And then you'll do a 1 to 200 word reflection, which addresses one, did the assignment provide insights as to whether they can't or they won't? And what were those insights? Would you use it again? Why or why not? And then what else did you learn from it? So pretty easy assignment, really. It's just providing that short reflection. Lesson plan, I mentioned this earlier. We have a lesson plan template in the course shell for you. And we're asking you to do a lesson plan that is focusing on a behavior and coming up with a replacement behavior to use and developing a lesson plan for that. And so here's kind of some of the goals that we're looking for. Knowledge of the learning environment in that lesson plan, a learning goal and objective, some of the background knowledge, and just structure of the lesson, and any type of assessment to measure whether that behavior is improving. Okay, once you implemented that lesson. Discussion activities, there will be four, mention those. There's four of them. They're worth 50 points each. They'll be spread out over the 8 weeks. Each time there will be a specific prompt kind of tied to the readings in the course text for that. So, and then there will be asking you to respond to two colleagues. And then there are going to be two reflections. I mentioned those while ago in the point breakdown, and so we'll just ask you to provide a reflection over a couple different activities along the way, specifically centered around maybe the FBA or the BIP, or a couple of the assigned readings regarding behavior management in the courses, maybe what you've learned so far in behavior management, what you feel like maybe your students' strengths and areas of need, areas that they need to improve, and then what resources do you need to meet those goals. And again, it's just reflecting on your experiences in your classroom. Okay, it isn't anything you really have to go out and research on and submit a big formalized paper. So that's kind of a breakdown on those assignments. Now I'm going to quickly, if I could, share with you the course schedule, which is right under the syllabus. You'll see schedule, so it's got the weeks 1 through 8 broken down and what all will be due each week. So you should be able to see the screen. So you will see this Sunday, we're asking you to have the introduction discussion done, and then also discussion 1. And then by Sunday at 6, for the group, I need you guys can email me. One of you out of the group, email me and let me know who's going to be your group members, and then I will place you in those groups in Blackboard. Okay. So a lot of that will be determined off what you're seeing in the discussion board. Once students start putting their information in, what grade levels that their of students are working with, that will give you an idea who you want to partner up with. So once you kind of see who that might be, and you can message them in our Blackboard Messenger. It will list the students in there, and you can send them a message, say, "Hey, I see we're working in the same age group, grade levels. Would you like to, join up in a group for that assignment so we can work together?" So that's kind of how that's done. Okay, so that's week 1. That'll be due this Sunday. All my assignments, guys, are due Sunday at midnight, other than asking you to get in your group by 6 o'clock Sunday. Okay, but all the other assignments are due Sunday at midnight. This gives you the opportunity the weekend to catch up. If you've had a busy week and being pulled in a lot of different directions, it kind of gives you the weekend to catch up if you need to. Week 2, we will actually jump in and you'll have discussion 2 to work on next week, the can't do, won't do assignment. And then we'll ask you to kind of start working on a draft lesson plan. And I will go over that more in detail next week when we meet on Wednesday. I'll talk to you a little bit more in depth on that lesson plan draft. And then also kind of the can't do, won't do. But that just kind of gives you an idea of what's coming up the first 2 weeks. Week 3. The final lesson plan will be due and a discussion board. Week 4 will be a discussion. We're already talking about the FBA and the BIP, so you're kind of working behind the scenes on that. And then on week 5, you'll submit step 1 of the FBA. Remember, we're going to break it down into 3 steps. So you'll submit step 1, then step 2, then step 3. You won't have to submit it all at once. And then after we submit step three, basically for your final, for that last assignment, it will be submitting the behavior intervention plan. So you'll write the plan based off all the data you collected in parts one, two, and three of the FBA. Okay, so that'll pretty much be the final assignment. And it's due that week 8. So once we get going, it's going to go quick. These 8-week courses do. This is actually one of the practicum courses that's offered in this program that's 8 weeks. The rest of them are 16. Okay. I've got 822 this semester. It's a full 16 weeks, where this one's cut down into 8. So it moves pretty quick. Okay. Is there any questions? I know I went through that real quick and there's a lot. I would challenge you or recommend to you that you go through and explore, start looking at module one. It'll say week one. You can click on that folder. Tells you your assigned readings here. Here's where you go to do the introduction, discussion board. Okay, it gives you a prompt. What is your name? What grade level of student with whom you work with? Use this information to help you find others who work with students of the same age. This is how you want to group yourself for FBA and BIP. Okay, so just make sure you do that so others can see. Do you have a question?
I do.
Yeah.
Um, so you said everybody in our team is going to do like research on one of our students, right?
Yeah.
Gathering information.
Yeah. So Kim, you'll have your target student, and Emily would have hers, and then whoever else is in your group. Okay,
All
so
right.
there's going to
But
be
then
yeah.
are we doing the FBA on just one of them? Or are
On
we going
one,
to
you're
be
going to compile the information as we go. You're going to find a common theme amongst the three of you in your group, and you'll decide, hey, let's focus on this.
okay?
And you're going to focus on what you consider to be a prototypical student
Okay.
between the three of you, okay? So basically a fictitious student. You've all
So
identified
we
a
only
common
have,
theme.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead. Yeah.
So we only have 3 in a group.
I believe for this class there are 3 to a group with the number of enrollees that we have. Yeah. So
All
if you
right.
can,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Any other questions on that?
I have
Okay.
one just to kind of clarify. So I'm just sitting here racking my brain on what kit I would use, and I don't immediately think of one. And that sounds like a good problem, but I guess I'm just trying to figure out like all of my students this year are mainly learning disabilities. Behaviors are things like typical fifth and sixth grade boy type stuff, I would say. Um, would behaviors just be like is a behavior also looked at as like not being on task or no? Is that not like I'm just trying to figure out like who would I use, like what situation?
Yeah, it could be
I want
one
to
that's
make sure I'm looking at the right thing.
continuously off test. So you kind of have to look at your group. It could be, get some examples on down in here. Of course, they're probably more extreme than maybe what you're used to seeing. Could be eloping, could be defiance, could be repeatedly off task. It could be I call them roamers. They're continuously
Okay.
roaming around the
Okay.
room. I mean, so it's something that's continuously ongoing disruption of the learning environment.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question. Could mine be like I have like a student that is on the spectrum and has issues with um, like transitioning, and she starts crying and
Sure.
stomping her feet and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
Could
So
that be something?
narrowing that down. Is there a specific trigger? Well, it sounds like the transition is a trigger, right? That's when you're always seeing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's yeah, so those are some things. Is that a common ongoing disruption to the learning environment or the learning process or that it impedes your
Okay.
classroom procedures?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. On this too, sometimes you can overthink this. Okay. Really, what we're wanting to learn how to do collectively as a group is learn kind of the process to go through to how to effectively do an FBA and a BIP. Okay, so you can overthink the behavior side of it. We're just trying to come up with a common theme that your group can identify that we can therefore take that identified commonality and put it in here and learn how to go through and develop and do the FBA and also develop the BIP. So I would just say that. I say that to say this is don't overthink the behavior side part of it. It's just try to come up with a common theme. Then we'll dive into the nuts and bolts of now let's learn how to do the FBA and let's learn how to do the BIP. Okay. Does that kind of make sense? Is there, yeah, okay. Any other questions on that I could answer for you? Okay, actually on this one, with the number we have, it's set at four. So a lot of the times it depends. So up to four members in the group. Okay. It could be, you may see a common theme talks about here. You may be in elementary, you may be secondary, you may be in a setting where it's more behavioral focused. So it's not uncommon for us to have in some of these classes where some of this graduate students are actually working in a specialty school that focuses strictly on behaviors. I've had them that were employed full time. They were providing educational services in a juvenile detention center. Okay. So you want to try to find someone that you have a commonality with in those groups. Elementary, secondary, could be mid-level, could be more behavioral health services that you're working in, and just trying to pair up with those. Okay. And then once you get those, Kimberly, if you get in a group, just someone from your group, send me an email in the Blackboard Messenger, or you can send it to my Fort Hays email and let me know, hey, Dr. Posey, we're in a group together, us, these four individuals.
Is it okay to just have a group of two?
It could be, depends on, yeah, with the number of students, we can
There's
go
not
up to
a lot
four.
of
I'm sorry, go ahead.
there's not a lot of secondary, like a lot of people are elementary,
Yeah.
and so I've only seen me and two other people.
Okay.
I've contacted one more group so far,
Okay.
but there's
And
not a
so
lot
we
of
may only have
secondary.
two secondary. The rest of them may be elementary. And so I believe there's four groups set up. And if we get into a bind like that, where it's heavy on the elementary side, I can create another group if I need to balance that. Okay. But so we may only have a couple secondary.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions on that? I would really encourage you to do that as soon as you can, after we get done tonight. Um, so you kind of know who you're working with and maybe go ahead and message him and start thinking about, okay, what student do I want to kind of target that I serve that could help me meet the requirements of this assignment that I could document their behaviors. Okay, so that's really your focus for week one. Okay, by looking at the course sheet, I just kind of wanted to show you where you can find all that. So here's where you talks about selecting your group members. Once you have them, you can email me. Promote discussion. There's a discussion board and you have the introduction. Okay, so you're going to go on to your introduction and then the discussion board talks about reading the self-determination article. There's the link below down here. You can click on it. Just ask you to read it. Uh, Read the why, what, and how of healthy self-regulation. Explore those links regarding mindfulness applications, and then respond to the discussion board prompts promoting self-determination. Okay, so introduction, discussion one, and then finding out who your group member is going to be. That's your task between now and Sunday evening. Okay, then next week, Wednesday, we'll start jumping into the can't do, won't do, and then start breaking down the lesson plan. Okay, is there any questions on that? No? It's clear as mud. I know everybody's probably just about half brain dead right now. It's the first week for everyone. You're probably like overwhelmed. Sounds like, again, from our discussion before I started the recording, a lot of you guys are maybe your first year. This is your first time to be in SPED. And so I use this term. It's like drinking from a fire hose sometimes. I don't know how else to say it, but you know what? We'll get through it. You guys will. In some of our discussions on here, if you're really having a challenging time, throw it out there and say, hey, I'm really struggling with this. Is anybody having suggestions if you've been doing this for a while? I know one of the students I think this is her fourth year in a SPED classroom. So it's a great way to network and collaborate and get some ideas. Okay.
This is my first full year in SPED. I started late in the year last year. I started February 1st.
See, that's a challenge walking in three-fourths of the way through the school year into it. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was a true challenge, but
yeah,
I have a very good mentor, so
good. That helps. Well, hopefully we
That
can
was
bounce
neat.
ideas off each other during this course, during this 8 weeks, and you can take some things from that as well, just through some of the informal discussions we have on here, and then also some questions that might come up as we start working on the FBA and the BIP. Some challenges
I
might come.
really hope so. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. As I mentioned, the first night, a little bit just kind of an overview and kind of going over the course shell and the syllabus and all that. And so I kind of went over your tasks between now and Sunday. It's kind of a little bit of a light week for you, and then we'll jump into a lot more next Wednesday when we meet. Remember, if something comes up you can't make it to the Zoom, I record it and it'll be posted in the announcement section, the link. So I created a YouTube link. I'll upload the Zoom video into YouTube, create the link, and just drop it in the announcement section. I'll post it and I will send it to you by email as well. Okay, so it comes both ways, and you can go back and review the Zoom session. All right, guys, I check emails twice a day. I forgot to tell you this. I'm an early morning guy, so a lot of times I check them from about 5:30 to 7:30. And then I start checking them again after 5 p.m. So if you email me in the middle of the day, I've already checked the early morning, so I'll catch you on the early evening, late afternoon, early evening round. But I always do that twice a day. So you can email me in the Blackboard Messenger or my Fort Hayes email. And then one other thing I always tell, and I forgot to mention this, when you submit assignments, which will be due on Sunday at midnight. My goal is I always try to have those scored with feedback and back to you by Tuesday evening. That's my goal. I don't like to go a long time and leave those hang out there and you've moved on to the next one. I like for you to see that and then any feedback about, hey, on the next assignment or part two, you might want to try this or change this up. So I'll do my best. That's always my goal to get it to you by that Tuesday evening. Okay, so, and again, check those emails twice a day. So if something comes up, just communicate. I'll work with you. All right. Any other questions before I let you go tonight? Everyone good?
Yep. Look
If you
forward
think of
to working
something,
with.
I'm
if you think
good.
of something after tonight, after the Zoom, you're like, man, I wished I would have asked him this. I do that. All you gotta do is shoot me an email if you think about it, okay? A question, and I'll answer it for you. All right? I'm gonna do a stop screen share on that. So I look forward to working with you these 8 weeks, and hopefully you'll be able to take a lot from this class. And if and when the time comes, you actually have to do the FBA and the BIP, you're like, hey, I kind of I have an understanding of how this process works. But just know you won't be in it alone. You'll have the team working with you, the IEP team, when you do it. All right? Okay, if you have anything come up between now and next Wednesday at 6, please email me, especially if it's a question, okay? And if I don't hear from you, I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday and hope you guys have a good remainder of the week. All right, hang in there.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Have a good evening.